All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are and when you're seeing this. But hello, my name is Eric Harris here. I am the tech partner evangelist here at Nintex, and welcome you to the second Hangout in 2016. Excited to have you join us, and definitely looking forward to a great time today. And I actually forgot to put something up here, so let me do that really quick. But while I do that, got a little bit of things to do for housekeeping. Exciting things, definitely, but definitely some things going on. One, if you've been tuning in at any point in time, you may have heard about the InspireX conference, which will be coming up. This has been a great time for us to actually launch our first user conference. So definitely looking forward to that. That'll be in Las Vegas in February. Uh, yeah, I actually should get those dates. It's bad. I have a whole lot of things going on here. 1 second, let me grab that. Why? Because there's like 15 different things. There's releases and all that other stuff. So many new things going on. So it's like a bunch of days going through my head. But don't worry about it. Never fear. When all this fails, you can just go to the internet and grab what you need, right? Google is your best friend. Yes, or should be your best friend if this thing works. All right. Anyways, while I'm doing that, I'll load this up here. But exciting, we have some great news coming out. I get the privilege of when I do these hangouts every now and then to hit on the day after a release, which is very interesting. And the reason why it's interesting is because usually I then kind of am like the first person announcing it, which is great. The backside or the downside of that is oftentimes I'm having to kind of go through and figure out and look at, and I'm doing it kind of when we do our press release, our pre-release things, and then there's some other things that I have to do. So just trying to get prepared so that I can actually come on here and be knowledgeable enough to share with you, and then also experiment and play around. That's how I learn. Is kind of test things out, try to break something, and things like that. So it's been a nice, fun journey with getting these things kind of pre, and then actually having it right when it launches. So, but trying to figure out why my internet is actually not running. Well, that's not good. Let's see here. Let's save that and see what that does. Let's do that. And there we go. And switch that. Should be good. Cool. Okay. There we go. Should be good. See if that works. And I'm going to erase that. See if this goes. Okay. Cool. I've been playing around. You may see my name show up in the lower left-hand side. I was playing around with that. So that's what I was like doing. There we go. All right. Let's enable that again. And all right, there. Looks better. A lot better. Okay. So now we got that good. Let's get everything else going. All right. So within this, like I said, we have InspireX that is happening. My internet is actually not working the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to have to run solo on that. But we have InspireX that has been one of the nicer things for the new year that we have. We also have a couple other things coming out, but the biggest thing is we extended the Tech Dog. There was such a demand for it, so we extended the Tech Dog pre-day workshop. So it's still kind of a pre-conference, not pre-day, pre-conference workshop is still there, but we're going to actually have another session on Monday morning. The Sunday session, I believe, is full. So the Monday morning session, I believe, is from 8 to 12. That session is available, but it is on a first come, first served basis, meaning that when you register, you will have the opportunity, and it is filling up. So I want to encourage you to definitely register as soon as possible. Get that so that you can actually become part of that and participate. Why not do that? It's a free workshop, and it's something that I don't know of a single person. Even if you are considered an expert at Nintex, you still could benefit from just being seeing more things or seeing something that you didn't know, some of the fundamental things that you may have overlooked, etc. I mean, I even when I go through certain training things or I'm reviewing certain things, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that, or oh, I actually didn't see that, or didn't know that detail. And it's really cool to actually have that experience. And plus, being in a workshop with other people, just learning together and exploring and looking at things together is always a benefit. So I would recommend, definitely, if you can, to register as soon as possible for that. Also, the code, I will push this, and I should have made like a little thing to print it for you. Hangout 15. Use that code, you get $100 off. Hangout 15. Use the code, you get $100 off registration. So register as soon as possible and get an extra $100 off. Use the code Hangout 15. That means that you saw me, you heard it from me, which is great, but also gives you the chance. I will be doing a live hangout during the conference, so it's going to run on that Wednesday, and I'm probably going to have to figure out how to flip my day so that it hits on the right time. But you get to hang out with me, an opportunity to hang out with me live, to do a live hangout with me in Las Vegas. So use the code Hangout15 to, one, get $100 off. You still register early so that you can actually get into the Tech Dog, the extended workshop, and get to hang out with me. Why not? So definitely use that code Hangout15, and I will put that out there for everyone else to see. I'm actually trying to find the notice that I had so that you all will have it, and I am looking for that. So give me a second. But I'm not sure why my internet is just so not working right now. Interesting. All right, so let's get into it anyways. So today I want to talk about a couple of different things in relation to Nintex Forms. This is something that will impact on-prem. So just an FYI, I want you to know that it will impact on-prem or on-premise. Um, Office 365, we love you all. There are things that happen, but this major one is something that we had to show some love back down to on-prem for the users that are using the on-premise version. So with that, I am going to see here, share my screen, and let's present this to everyone and see if I can get to the right one. All right, so if you go to the tech blog section, you'll see a couple of new articles that were released over the last night, etc. One of the biggest ones was app air deployment. So I'm skipping around because I want to say the best for last. But the app air deployment, that one, written by Patrick Hosh, talks about the fact that Nintex Mobile Enterprise, and it's actually something that's really huge. We've had a lot of users trying to figure out, hey, I have enterprise, I have mobile, and I'm trying to figure out how do I deploy my app. I need an MDM. We don't have an MDM today. Do we use Intune? Do we use um, Good, etc.? What do we use for these? And with this, what we have done is actually just built our own to enable you to deploy your own apps. Why not? It gives you more control, centralization of what you're doing in management, etc. And we were doing bulk of the work anyway by creating the MDKs. So why not go ahead and just help you push it through? We had the infrastructure, so it was just one of those things of figuring out some security settings and things like that, and we did it. So I'm not going to go too much detail on this, but I want to say that app air deployment or app deployment via Nintex Mobile Enterprise is now available, and Patrick does a wonderful job of kind of going into great detail about how you can do that. And for people that have used NME, so Nintex Mobile Enterprise, before, this shouldn't be a complete shocker for you. So definitely something that you want to look at and see, how you can go take it to the next level. So you created your apps, you already have them ready to go. Now you can actually push them to different devices and have people use them accordingly. So really exciting news there. That was huge, and something that what it will enable is more customization of the Nintex mobile apps. And use of those apps, so for different departments, producing different forms that are specific just for their departments, you can now distribute those and then have the apps that are available to use that. So really good thing, right? Awesome. The next one I want to do is look at the workflow release for Nintex workflow. And this is on-prem as well. There was something, and I'm going to actually demo this shortly on, it's called External Start, and I'm looking to see where in the world did this one go. We released the external, this is actually the release notes, that's probably why I went to the wrong one. But External Start, where you can actually externally start a workflow. There it is, I found it right here. You can externally start a workflow from outside of SharePoint. Pause for a loud applause. Yes, that is something that is huge. That is brand new to Nintex, to the workflow world. Being able to, outside of SharePoint, you're doing something. You're interacting with some other system, whether it be Twilio, Facebook, Salesforce, OpenText, whatever it is. You want to do something in another system. It could be Oracle. Or even SAP, and you want to actually start a workflow inside of SharePoint and actually have it do something, or using Nintex to do something where it's either doing permissions management, it could be document management, it could be a host of things, approval processes, etc. But it's not being started or initiated from SharePoint, it's being initiated from another system. This now will enable you to do that. And the way that it allows you to do that, you can definitely read this blog in detail, and thanks a lot to Denise for doing that. But you can, that is that you will, you basically, you can have some process running outside of, so for example, Salesforce, one of the new things that we're actually working with. You have something going on in your CRM, and you want that to then kick off a workflow for someone that may not have access to your CRM, but they have access in SharePoint, or they're doing something with legal documents, etc. You want to do document review. You can kick that workflow off via Salesforce, an event or something triggering in Salesforce. It triggers the event inside of SharePoint. That triggers a workflow where you now have full customization. You're taking advantage of the Nintex workflow platform. You can run that, have it do whatever it does, and even push the data back into whatever the other system is utilizing Nintex. How awesome is that? So this is cool. This is cool, right? It's fun. It's exciting, and it's very simple to use. And I'm actually going to show a little bit of how that's done. I did not get the opportunity to set this one up the way I wanted to, but not a big deal, right? Um, it's there, and if you have it, I'm there's a blog out there, so I'm not going to repeat the blog, but definitely want to say that the information's out there, and I'll show you a little bit of how this happens. And this also came to Nintex SharePoint workflows on-prem. So Nintex on-premise, if you have a SharePoint server, not in Office 365, but SharePoint server, this is where that is available. So the first feature was mobile, and then this is now the on-prem workflow instant that received another kind of big whammy. And there's more coming. Obviously, we haven't forgotten about Office 365, but this was one of those things that, with people, obviously, if you think about it, externally starting, they're wanting to do something with their on-prem instance and invoking that from another system, etc. This was definitely a good area for that to fit in. But we have a survey results list here, and to access the external start, you can simply click on the cog or the gear and go to Nintex workflow. And if you have updated your bits, so that means you have done your update, downloaded them from the community and updated them, you will now see this thing here called Manage External Start. And if you click on that, what this does is it opens up a separate page, and you do need to have access to this to be able to do it. So not every user can create, but you have to have access to a certain page, and it will show you the different workflows that are accessible. And when you see that, you can simply configure that workflow. Click on this, and it allows you to then grab or create, here it is, a URL for to actually interact with for an external start. So you have a URL and a security key. You might be thinking, okay, what in the world is this, and how in the world do I use this? If we let's go back to the blog really quick. If we look here, the two scenarios says, Nintex site workflow needs to be started whenever a new account is created in Salesforce. Great example. We need Salesforce new accounts created. We need something to happen inside of SharePoint. Get them SharePoint credentials. We can actually issue them uh, manuals of things outside of SharePoint. We can do a host of things. We can create AD accounts, etc. All that happens because of something from Salesforce. But what we're using here, the endpoint URL, generate endpoint URL for that workflow in SharePoint, and it has a security key so that no one else can invoke and create or basically kick off that workflow. That's a really important thing. But the endpoint URL can then be configured to another integration provider like Zapier or Azuqua. That's an important key that I want to point out here, Zapier or Azuqua. And the reason why I say that is that you can go out here and create other web systems, etc., or you can use something that's already in existence. They have things built in the cloud, and they're easy to provision. You don't have to worry about trying to do a bunch of different hooks and connectors. It's all done for you. You just simply go out there, log in, create your system, upload your security key and the URL pointing to it, and it will take care of the rest, in this case Zapier. And I can show you an example of this. I actually went out here and I was attempting to do this, and again, running out of time to do all of this, but it's really cool how this thing is set up. You can see Zapier, we do have an Nintex Zap set up, or an app setup that you can use. It's actually going to load in a second, but we have this set up, and what it allows you to do is to start a workflow. And that means that an event triggers something. Zapier would then pick that up and actually send that over via the URL, check the security key, and then trigger the workflow to start. And that basically enables you to then run your workflow logic inside of the SharePoint Nintex, creating whatever that logic is, as extensive, as complex as you want it to be. Using the tool that you can now invoke that from outside. So that is awesome. It's great. And it's actually not that hard to set it up. I started setting it up and then I stopped because I wanted it to be fully functional before I showed anybody, and I did not do that, so I stopped. But the idea is that we do have a Zap available. It is in beta, meaning that there are certain things that Zapier requires for this to actually run as a full production app available, but it is something that you can do and use and leverage, just like you can leverage Twitter, Salesforce, any of the other ones. You can do any of those things. You can use Nintex action as well as the receiving action based on a triggered event from a host of other systems. And that's the premise behind the external start. And I wish I would have had that configured for you, so I apologize for that. But the essential piece of it is that and I'll actually show you the way the URL. Wow, that looks really ugly. That wasn't supposed to load like that. Let's actually do this to see what this will look like really quick. And I'm running this actually on a SharePoint server instance as well, so it may be running a tad bit slow. And I'm actually logging in via VPN and then doing a remote desktop. Alrighty, so can I grab my URL? Oh, I was actually supposed to input the URL in there. Oh, let me go back to, let me see here. Will it not? There we go. Okay, so that was a little interesting there. So that's my URL. And let's show the security key really quick. So you have both of these. What you would end up doing is taking the URL here and you would load it into Zapier, and then you would also load a security key in a place where it actually requests those things while you're building out your Zap action, and then it will actually register and do that for you. Let's see here. So I will continue to work on that on the back end, but for the most part, and see if I can actually get that set up during the Hangout. But for the most part, again, it's an external start. Is doing this securely, so you don't have to worry about that. And we're using integration partners. Again, Azuqua and Zapier are some of those partners that we're leveraging, which enables you to go out there and create a host of whatever zaps or connections that you want to invoke into an Nintex workflow, you can do those, and we'll expose that endpoint for you, and then allow you to interact with that accordingly, which keeps the onus on both us and you to work together, but it allows you more flexibility in creating those endpoints, as many as you need for your environment and for your solutions. So that's really good feature that came out for an Nintex workflow, and it's something that's been requested for a while, for a lot of really large enterprises and use cases. That was something that was requested, so we are really glad to see that coming out. Alrighty, I've been delaying and delaying and delaying, and I'm going to stop delaying. And if I can find my um, Brad actually did a really good. There it is. I found it. He did a really good blog on the new feature, which is the feature that I want to discuss. And let's see if I can share that. See, that one's loading. Yes. So thanks to my man out on the East Coast, Brad did a blog on the paperless office, and the fact that many people have been asking for this feature called print to PDF, or the ability to print from Nintex Forms. And I'm actually going to look and see if I can find the user voice, uh, just to show you this. And let's see here, can I find that? There we go. See, my internet's actually working now. While that's loading, we'll just look at the blog, see what is going on with my internet. All right, so essentially we have a form, and I'm actually going to walk through this, and we're going to build a form out together. So we'll see how this goes live, and we're going to be experimenting together on this to see if we can make this thing work and work well. But imagine you have, a form. The form looks great. It has all this logic in it, etc. And you now want the ability to print that. Before, you would do the print screen version, or you do a copy and paste, and it was ugly. Depending on how you were doing, the browser would not render it the correct way. It would do something. It would add a bunch of the web text stuff, the headers and the footers, and it wasn't printer friendly. And it definitely, I mean, it worked, but again, it's why work if you can work really well. And it wasn't on Nintex to do that. It was, I mean, the print functionality. If you try to print something out of SharePoint, that functionality in and of itself is just not a great experience. So it wasn't like we weren't doing something, we were just operating as a form. And the goal of it is actually to prevent people from doing a lot of printing. The more you get digital information, it's cheaper. I mean, you can store a lot more in the sand versus actually having a bunch of file cabinets somewhere. But the other premise of it is that you don't have to print it. You can actually call it whenever you need it, right? So that was one of the things that we were looking at. But people kept saying, hey, I have this form, I'm collecting this data, I need to print this. The other thing about it was being able to collect the data, but then also have some kind of terms and conditions that are available. Working with the client last year, actually, they wanted a form that people could fill out, but it was a use agreement for equipment, for music equipment. So they wanted, when they went to print that form and have it ready to be signed, they wanted all this legal jargon to be available to be printed, but they didn't necessarily want that on the visual form that people were filling out their name, address, etc. And so that meant that there was a different view for print than it needed for input, but they still wanted to be able to do that right from the same form. And now I'm glad to say, and I need to actually call that customer back and say, hey, we can do that. And it's easy. There's no extra code that's needed to do. It's right inside the product. Get the update and let's run it. But that is something that we now can do, and it's great. Um, a great offering is available. So let's see. I wonder if they actually mark this one as complete. At the top idea. Let's see if this one is marked as complete here. It should be print to PDF. Print functionality. There you go. Actually, I'll get with Alex to actually mark this one as complete, but we now have that available, where you can print. So thank you for voting it up. A lot of people, I've actually heard a lot of people say, hey, no one responds to things on user voice. And, this has been out there for a while, and no one's doing anything, etc. Well, here's another proof, and I've done this before. debunking that myth that we don't do anything, here's another thing that's out there where we said we're working on it. It started. It takes a while to figure out how to get things done correctly so that it rolls out and it doesn't break anything, it doesn't mess up the user experience, etc. But here's yet another, proof that, hey, we are listening to you and we're doing exactly what you're asking us to do within reason. Obviously, we all have jobs, but the main goal is to help you do better at what you're doing, which means that we have to figure out ways to implement that into our products. And here's a good example of how we did that. So just want to give kudos to the product management team and to everyone that was involved in making that happen. And thanks, Brad, for the blog as well. So you can read Brad's blog whenever you get a chance. But let's actually look at how we can do this and make a form printable, or not make it printable, but actually enable it to be printed to PDF. So here I have Hangout form, and there's not a lot out here because I was rushing and I decided to wipe out my last instance. So I had to rebuild this and actually redeploy last minute, which is so much fun. I had to redeploy Nintex to get the upgrade. So anyways, let's actually start this, and I'm going to actually just create a couple of fields to see what this would look like if we wanted to print this. Hangout date, the title. Let's see, we can grab the username. See here, participant. Why not? And let's do legal stuff. I feel like I need to have more like fields on here. Let's add city, date. I mean, city. I already have date, location. And what I'm basically doing here is creating a simple form with a bunch of fields, and I'm gonna create a couple of panels and show you how we can actually do this. So we have location, date, participant. What else? We're missing something here. Oh, topic maybe. Let's do this as a choice, and we can do this as workflow, forms. I don't know, something else, mobile maybe. That's enough, right? Yeah, so that'd be good. All right, cool. So we have this form, or we have this list rather. We don't have a form. We're gonna click on Nintex Forms, and I'm actually doing this straight out of the box, or straight out of the box. I'm doing this straight off the top of my head, so that you don't think, hey, I just figured, I built this up over. No, this is all happening on the fly. So if I make a mistake, don't hold me to it. But anyway, so here we have a form. As you've seen me done before, whenever I go to edit the forms, I tend to come in immediately and I'll actually resize a couple of things. Just gives me a little bit more control on over the form as I'm doing some customization, and allows me to kind of, ooh, that is not what I wanted. It's supposed to be 705 there. But yeah, so it allows me to do that. But before I leave this, let's look at something. We now have this thing right here called print to PDF, which is really cool. That's actually where you want to set your functions. You can choose your page size, and we loaded the standard page sizes that are used for PDF printing. Loaded those in here for you. And we also loaded whether you want a portrait or landscape. So depending on what your form is doing, you now can do portrait or landscape. So that is available inside of the form setting. I actually did that on purpose to get here, but that was inside the form setting. So if you want to modify or actually set up your form for printing the PDF, you can do that. If you don't do this and someone does click on the print to PDF button, then it will set up in a different way and or be printed in a different way. All right, so we have this done. I'm going to actually create some space here because I want to add some legal stuff. Actually, I have that there. I want to create a panel is what I want to do. And I want to separate some of this content. So let's do this. Drag this all the way over. This is the fun part when you're actually coming in and you're creating something, right? Well, at least I think it is. So, all right, we're going to simply drag over drag into the panel two fields, location and topic. And I'm doing that just to kind of create two different pieces of content. Don't necessarily need to hide them or anything, but just create two pieces of content, then you have legal stuff. You'll also notice, I'm going to find it here so it shows up first. Yeah, page break guide. If you ever use PDFs or printing, you have these long forms, massively long forms, and you want them to separate a page break correctly. This control here is the tool to use. And if we hover over it again, it says insert a page break for use with the print to PDF controls placed below the page break appears on the next page. This is really easy to use. Simply just drag and there you go. It does a little bit of resizing of the controls that are around it, which is good. But what that basically is enabling is when you go to print, it's going to print the top pieces one page, and it's going to flow the next information underneath that as another page. One thing to note here, if you're wanting to add branding, oops, didn't do that right. If you want to do branding on the form for both pages, you will need to actually copy or grab the branding and copy it to multiple pages. This will enable it to actually show up on multiple pages if you're wanting that. So I don't think I grabbed the right thing. There we go. So if you wanted to do that, for example, you will need to duplicate that so that it is showing on both pages. Just an FYI, that's basic when using forms, etc. I'm not going to keep that on there, but that's something just to keep in mind. But what I've basically done is created a form, standard form, added some fields, and I use a page break to kind of separate the data that I want on both pages. So let's actually see what this looks like. We'll go to preview and I'm going to display it in the display mode. And now we have preview mode. So you can see it has this kind of weird break here. It doesn't really show anything. It's the legal stuff there. I'm actually going to close that out and go to new. That's what I really wanted to do there. New or edit, either or will be fine. But I want you to see the form. The form itself interacts as it normally would, so you actually can't tell that there's much. I mean, there's a spacing issue, but that's because I put it into a panel. But the form still interacts the way you want the form to interact. However, when you go to print to PDF, this is the really cool piece of it, is that it's going to convert it to PDF, and in this case, it should create two different pages. And this is actually loading on a different monitor, so give me a second to grab that and drag that back over. If I can do that, where's my mouse? There we go. All right, so let's drag that back over here. So what we can see is that we have, so it actually created two pages for us. The first page has the top half of the information as I set up, and then the second page has the bottom half of the information as I set up, and it actually created it and it put it on a legal size page. So let's just look at that really quick. Wow, that is super large. So here we go. So we have the two pages. This is a really ugly form. Don't hold me to that, but I'm just trying to show the functionality here. It is able to split that up, and you can create multiple pages as well. Let's see if I can do the view and do two side by side. Where's that at? Page display. There we go. Two page scrolling. So you can see that it does do that way. So I'm going to actually minimize this, and let's actually modify this form again. I'm going to take that out and I'm gonna put it somewhere else. So we're gonna drag this up here. So I'm just actually using now, this is basic basic functionality, gives you the ability to do a lot of different things. Actually, let's create two page breaks. Just, I mean, hopefully you all get the gist of it, but I like to play around with things to see, yeah, does it really do this? Let's bring this down because we want the legal stuff on the second page by itself. Say, for example, we had a whole lot of stuff in here. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. Let's do this. And this is usually the case that we would end up having, right? Where we have a bunch of text, legal text, for example. Thanks, Brad. And we're going to put that legal text onto our form, but we only want it to show up when it's ready to print. Legal stuff. Allow access, yes. Aha. See, good stuff here. Lots and lots of stuff. Alrighty. Probably not the best format that I was doing this. Let's see here. Actually, I want to put this inside of a panel as well. See if I can do that. I'm getting really fancy on this. Send to back. Bring this. I'm going to drag this stuff in here. And again, I mentioned this in another one. We can do rules on these. And the rule here I'm actually going to do, I only want this panel to display. I'm actually going to redo this. I'm running this all on the fly, hide legal. I only want the panel to display when it is in display mode. So I don't want the panel to show up when it is in edit mode. So let's actually see here. So if it's in display mode, if it equals to display mode, let's see, edit mode. If self equals edit mode. Actually, I think I should just do that, right? And we want to hide it. Hide it if it is in edit mode. I think I did that wrong, but we'll find out. Oh, not publish. I want it preview. No publish. Let's cancel publish. Let's go to preview. The rules are somewhat tricky. Edit mode. Let's see if this thing runs. And I don't think I actually set it. Oh, I did. Okay, good. Weird. Sorry, I should have known that, right? Yes. Just shows you how human I am. Okay, so you can tell that these fields did not show up because it was in edit mode, which is the way we want it. So we only want legal stuff to show up when it's not in edit mode. I'm gonna actually create a couple more spaces. I'm gonna bring this stuff back up. So we only want the legal information to show when it is in display mode, and that display mode is what people will be using to print with. So let's actually shrink this down a little. Oh, the joys of doing this stuff. This is so much fun. This is the stuff that I really enjoy doing, is figuring out and getting the stuff as easy as possible. And what I'm also going to do is actually add a page break above it. You know, I know you're probably like, hey, you did that already. But anyway, so we're doing a simple but complex little form here. And on this form, I'm actually going to change the settings really quick. Come on. All right, so then let's go back to 605. Just squeeze it back just a little bit. Well, no, of course not. Why? Because I have that in there. Oh, how lovely. All right. Actually, I think I just changed the wrong thing. Frank didn't tell me that I changed the height. I was meant to change it. Frank's actually beside me. He's sitting there laughing at me right now. It's like, what are you doing? Changed the wrong thing. Sorry. There we go. So it'll squeeze it in. There we go. That looks a lot better. All righty. So let's get this here. The other joy about doing something completely on the fly, if you make a mistake, you just got to own it and keep going. So if you're ever doing demos for anyone, or if you're ever trying to explain something to another user that doesn't understand it and say, oh, that wasn't what I meant, just say, hey, sorry, made a mistake. All right, so there we go. So that's inside of a panel. This panel doesn't have a name, which isn't good. We always should name stuff. So I'm going to name it legal. And that way I can actually reference it, even though I could have used a self. I'm going to name it legal. This actually worked, which was impressive, considering the fact that I almost made a mistake on that. And then we had the printed PDF. So what this basically is going to do is we're going to create this form. In edit mode, we won't see the legal information at all. And the legal information is just long, right? We won't see the legal information at all. However, in display mode, we will see the legal information, and we will have the ability to print from display mode and actually use that. And I think I just pulled that out of there. There we go. Another thing that we could do, say for example, we wanted someone to actually do a signature, to have a signature on here afterwards, if we wanted to, or not a signature, but we wanted to say, hey, input your name that you signed and you dated it, you know, after you read the legal information, etc. And this is for print purposes only. So if it's for print purposes only, that field wouldn't work. I just need a line. So print, and then give me a border, just a simple border here, which would be a line that they would actually just put their date on there. How about that? I wouldn't do this in a production environment or actually for a real form, but this isn't real, so it's a demo. That works. All right, so there we go. Let's preview this little thing, see if we can make this happen. So in edit mode, we should only see the fields, no legal, just the fields. Look at there. Awesome. Looks good, right? Looks great. Now we want to print this to PDF. And I'm wondering if this will work. I'm wondering if the print to PDF will show, because I think it will actually only show what is actually on this form, which means that I won't be printing from the edit form. And I think I was right. I was right. So I made a mistake on that one. I'll own it, and let's fix it really quick. If I can get my computer to operate with me. Close all tabs, close current tab. All right, so sorry about that. I want to now go to display mode, and I'm doing all this in preview because I don't want to have to save it, publish it, and all this other stuff. That's fun. We all know how to do that. Most of us do. So in preview mode, so I'm in display mode. Display mode now shows me my legal stuff and this, so I can actually see that if I had this thing filled out and then I wanted to print it, it would give me that ability to kind of print the legal jargon after the form is filled out. And if I open this up, you can then see that it will do that, where it shows what's being printed here. So the legal information is not showing up on the first page. Here's a whole host of legal information. Please sign this so they can sign, date it, etc. And this is their printed copy that they can have. So that's just an example. I wanted to show you very detailed example for belaboring through that one, making a couple mistakes there. But the gist of it is that we do now have the ability to do that print to PDF. It's an awesome feature. It's something that I believe for education, for government, even for sales, where if you're doing invoicing or something like that, you can have your form available. If you're doing something maybe via mobile or on a tablet or something, you can have it available for people to use, and then have that option there for them to print. I actually see if I can show this as a display form, which means I probably should have published it. But I'll do that really quick. So let's close that. So you can see it actually shows up in the ribbon. When you're viewing the form, you'll actually have the ability to print it. So that is something that is there. Let's actually just publish this. So great feature, awesome, excited. Thanks again, like I said, to the product management team and um, to the users, the testers, everyone that was working on it. Thank you so very much for your dedication to bringing features and feature sets that we've been asking for, users have been asking for and requesting. Just excited to see that, and thanks to Brad and the other TEs that volunteered their time to write information up on this stuff. Brad, like I said, he goes into details on it, and he actually had a video. I probably could have just used his video, and it probably would have been better than mine. But anyways, this is the focus is to bring these type of updates and things to you, so that you're aware of that. And I was doing something. I know what I was doing. I was actually going to show you what it looked like inside of the actual product. So I did publish this form. I'm going to come here and close it. Go to create a new one. I'm going to have to create a new one because that's the only way I can actually show you what it looks like when it's displayed. So let's get out here. So you see this right here, print to PDF. So you can actually print it while you're actually creating it. Remember the rule that I put on here was don't show it on edit mode. Edit is if I'm going in and I'm changing something. So say, for example, you have a user filling this out and then you want to print it. You can have them fill out their information. So this is second Hangout of the year. For example, Hangout date, we can select the date. You can add this default to a date, whatever. Participant, put my name. You know my name, now you do. Washington State, Northwest. I have to say that because I'm used to being on the east side. We're doing forms. Here's a bunch of legal stuff. I verify that this is my name. And we can save this information and print it as well. So I'm going to save it. And just to show you how cool this is, really cool, the legal stuff should not show up at all. Ah, nope, it's on display. Aha, this is on display. This is not edit. Phew. Okay, this is edit. Edit hides the legal stuff. Awesome. Yes, SharePoint, Nintex, they're all working together, and I did this all on the fly during the Hangout. But you can see it right here. So if we wanted to, we can give the users the ability to then print this. So if we did print this, it would generate the PDF for us, and it would save it down or put it into your temporary folder so you can open it up and display that. And I forgot that I did put a page break in there. So page break is showing the legal information in a second. Um, but there you have it. So print the PDF right there. We are working on, this is the first iteration. We want to get this out and get this into your hands, but we are working on, or heard discussions about allowing or being able to invoke the print to PDF from a workflow. So I don't know the timeline on that. Don't know if that's going to be coming out anytime soon or later. But again, put it on user voice and request it if that's something that you're looking for. There will be an upgrade too. But the first thing we want to do is to actually bring the function itself into your hands. And great job, team, for doing that. I want to be the first to say that publicly. You all are doing a fantastic job out there. Alrighty, with that, there were a couple of questions that I did see in the community, and in wanting to get the demos and things going, I did not look for any specifically to answer, so I apologize for that. But let's see if we can try to grab some really quick, maybe if I'm like that good. Let's see if I'm really good at Nintex, right? Review a couple of unanswered questions, or even review some things that are already been answered, just to say, hey, have you seen this? And as of the moment, my computer is running super duper slow. Not cool at all, actually. All right, so since my computer is running slow, I won't be able to do that. But so one of the things I did want to update on was we do have draw loop, and so document generation. That is something that is been kicking out, has been running a lot, and want to ensure that people understand what's available out there. If you have Nintex Workflow Office 365, if you open up the designer, you will see the document generation action available inside of the designer. It's there by default. If you, it comes as an upgrade automatically. We deploy that automatically out there, just like Office or Microsoft is pushing their updates, so you'll get that automatically. It allows you to generate documents based on templates, etc. I would encourage you to at least try to test that out to see what that does. You do get a quota of 50 free per trial, and that trial is per tenant. If you need more, etc., contact your Nintex partner, the person or whoever you know that actually helped you get Nintex in or use Nintex. Contact them. If you don't know who your Nintex partner is, shoot me a message. If you're a customer, shoot me a message, and we can run down to see what the partner is that has helped enable Nintex in your organization. We want you to utilize what's out there, and that's one of the reasons why I actually go through a lot of the releases and things like that. That's also why I produced a blog on what I felt was the top 10 release or features that were released over the year. And the reason for that is a lot of people actually miss the updates. And so they have functionality and they're thinking, oh, I can't do this, or I haven't been able to do this, or I'm waiting on this to happen. We have that available, or we may have it available in the product. So something again for you to be aware of. The document generation, it basically allows you to create documents from a list of data. You can actually create documents. You can combine documents from different sources, which is actually, again, the power of workflow. You can combine the document from different sources, putting a PowerPoint together, grabbing images, or not images, but grabbing different sets of data, sales data, CRM data, and content. You can combine that together to create a document, putting together invoices, quotes, proposals, etc. It's really a robust tool, and with the workflow, you have robust and complexity. Put those together, you have a really good business process that can be automated. And it's something that this doesn't replace a person. It enables a person to be more efficient, to be more proficient and productive in what they're doing, so they're not having to go in and create a mail merge and actually check a bunch of data. Your data is actually is set in the system. You have dates, you have times, you have timestamps, etc. You pull that information into the document, and you know that that information is there, and you're just doing a check on making sure that the documents aligned properly and your templates set up correctly. So those are some things about some things that are available within the Office 365 environment that you can use. And all right, so I do have unanswered questions actually finally showed up. Um, let's see here. I found one random one, and I clicked on it because it looks like something that I can answer really fast. But it is from a guy, Robert Perkins. I'm allowing it to load, and he asked a question about displaying the first name inside of the email text. And I think Tom Castiglia actually answered that. So let's see if we can share that really quick. Here we go. Alrighty. So we've actually answered this. I believe we've answered this a couple of times before. Um, and let's see if Tom got it right. See what was the response. Tom is good. Tom is golden. We'll have to mark that as a correct answer. Um, all righty. So the question is, I'm using Nintex Workflow to notify parties via email that parties involved in the wow. I'm using Nintex Workflow to notify the parties via email. The parties are involved is in the person's field. Would like to set the email text to display the names of the first name and last name, like Robert Perkins, not Perkins Roberts. And use is probably Perkins.Roberts is probably either the it's not the display name of the user. It's probably the login name because of how it's concatenated. And so that's something that should be done. And what Tom basically suggested was clarifying, are you trying to do that in a two field, et cetera, or are you trying to do that in an actual email? And I'm thinking that was an actual email. And he is correct. It is in the email body, the business owner, et cetera. So the way you can do that is here, and what Tom basically suggested. Um, is that let's keep going to see if there was an answer for that. Okay, so what you can do is go in here and you would actually take your value or variable, whatever it is. In this case, I believe it's business owner display name, and you would actually click on the ellipsis, which if you look at the screenshot that Tom provided, click on the ellipsis and you should be able to select display name. If that is not getting you exactly what you want, you could still pull that out. If you're wanting the first name and the last name, you could pull that out, do a regex, or just simply actually select from that name the first name and last name, etc., if it's not in the order or in the manner. But the display name should be the first name and last name. I would be hard pressed to find that differently. And someone else actually jumped in and said that in your Active Directory, the display name is the last name dot first name. That's interesting. It should be configured differently. For most instances, your display name inside of Active Directory does not contain a period unless it was set up that way, which I have not seen as well. So that will be something that would be interesting to see. And I'm going to see if I can find an example inside of my own tenant. And I'll be using Office 365, obviously, but I'm trying to see if I can find this available in mine to see is that what does it look like? And I believe it does do the first name, last name, as Tom was saying. That's what most of us have seen in Active Directory instances. So that should be something that's available really quick. See if I can pull this up. But that should be done. If it's not done, again, the other option is to grab the display name, and then from that you can go in and say, okay, give me the first and give me the last. Those are properties of the user profile, by the way, and you can actually request, if you wanted to do a REST call, you could request that and pull back the first name only and the last name only. And I also believe that there's an option. Well, that's not fun. There's an option that hey, look at there, document generation, just talking about you. There's an option to actually grab the first name out of the profile of the user. So I'm gonna go in here and actually see what's available, since I cannot remember 100% sure of that, but I believe that it is available. And we have a couple minutes left, so I'm doing good on time. My internet's been running slow. Pardon me on that one. I did pay my bills. For anyone that would get that. Let's see here. The variable. That's the easiest way for me to pull it up. So workflow variable here. And I'm going to create a variable, and this is going to be called person. This person or group create, and the value, I'm going to do workflow context, initiator. I should be able to do, here it is. So initiator display name. So this should give me the first name dot last name. It should, in theory, give me that information. And I will have to run this workflow to do that, to show it. So since I have to run this workflow, let's create a new workflow really quick to do that for everyone. I'm going to just simply do this. And to do that, I'm going to log it to history. So I'm going to set a value, then log it to history. And I can create a workflow variable within it. So I'm going to follow the same steps I just did. Person, oops, person, use people group. So this actually should be pulling from Active Directory. And basically I'm going to say, give me the initiator, which would be me or whoever I logged in as. Can't remember who I logged in as, and give me their display name. And then I'm going to log the display name to history. So I'm going to log this variable, workflow variable right here, log that into the history, save, and we're going to publish this really quick, create it, and this is going to be so what this should do is take the name of the person that I'm logged in as, and I believe I'm actually logged in as E Harris, so it should show my name. And I'm going to run this against an item really quick. So it doesn't really matter what that item is, and the reason why it doesn't matter what this item is because I'm actually running this workflow manually. So it's just going to give me, it's going to return back the value of me because I'm the one that started the workflow. And it'll log that to history. If I can click on that. All right, there we go. It's like I did not click on that correctly. So come here, display name. I'm just going to start it really quick. And it should take about a second to run. I bet it does this. There we go. So Eric Harris. So actually you can see it's showing it as it would present it. So, but let's actually look at the workflow history to verify that. It may take a second to run. It is being queued into Office 365. It's one of the things you don't really have to deal with on prem, which is a great thing. Oh, it completed. Awesome. Shouldn't have taken too long. It's a very simple workflow there. Oh, it didn't do it. Why didn't it do it? Outcome. Oh, I didn't output the outcome in correctly. That was a mistake on my end. Sorry about that. That was my mistake. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that fixed really quick. I got 1 minute to fix it. See if I can do this really quick. I didn't actually output it. I displayed it correctly. I didn't output it correctly. Let's see here. That should have worked. It's probably even better if I used it in an email instead of just doing a log to history. But you can get the understanding of it. So it what you want to do is actually go through, like I said, click on the ellipses and then set the display type. And it was showing the display type correctly in the variable, but it did not output it. It outputted the standard user identity because it had all the other information, the membership, everything else was in there, and that was not the display view. So yep, if we can get this thing to load, come on, there we go. All right, display name really quick, get this going, and I will let you all have a good rest of your day and or evening. Oh, don't forget, while I'm waiting on this, don't forget, Hangout 15, register for InspireX, come hang out with me, host of other partners, customers. We have a bunch of stuff coming out. There's a couple of new things. About to say something. There's a couple of new things that are coming out, and you don't want to miss it. You so don't want to miss it. But yeah, so there's a couple of new things coming out, and again, you can hang out with me. Why not? Um, that should be enough in and of itself, right? No, but anyways, yeah, Hangout 15. Use the code. It gets you $100 off. That's, I mean, that in and of itself should be awesome. So, all right, here's what I did wrong. I just pulled the variable in. The variable itself is the way you saw it. Um, but what I want to do is actually grab the variable again, and I want to, so let's see here. So it says specify the format for this value. So the value is what you saw, and that's the login name. I want the value to be displayed as a display name. So by doing this, I'm now switching how it's going to actually be displayed. And then I can say that, so when it comes out and gets logged into the message, it's going to be displayed in the correct format. So I did not do that before. I set it up here correctly, so it displayed it correctly, but I did not display it when it was outputted. So that's something to be aware of, and that's something that I believe Tom was trying to instruct on this one. So keep that in mind. I'm going to run this really quick. It should take 30 seconds or so to run, but keep that in mind, and definitely log in, register for InspireX, and use the Hangout 15 code. Hangout 15, that will get you $100 off registration. Register soon, because the pre-day, the pre-conference workshop day 2 is filling up fast. So you want to get that as soon as you can, as well as, since it's still not cooperating, there we go, as well as you have the ability to um, get everything you need with regards to getting your hotel rooms are also booking fast. We have a discount for the area hotel. So definitely, I'm going to do Jane Doe on this one so you can tell it's different. And you didn't think I was just kidding you. Jane Doe. All right, start. So we have a discount on the rooms. So the sooner you get that, you can get the rooms. And I personally would not want to be paying like $500 a night to be staying in Las Vegas. So register soon. Use the Hangout 15 code, and I hope to see you there. Just as much as I hope that this thing works. It works. I know it works. I'm confident that it works. Let's just see this thing working. All right, there we go. So let's look at 1003 really quick. And my fingers are crossed. So are my toes, everything else. Boom. Oh, that's weird. Okay, yeah, my name, even though it's Jane Doe, it still registers as me. So there you go. You see it right there. Proof is in the pudding. I do appreciate it. Excited to share with you all new and exciting things, be able to answer questions, do those things. And I'm definitely looking to the next Hangout with you, which will be in 3 weeks. Yes, the first Wednesday of February, and there's something exciting coming out. I am hoping to have one of our V's who's also a Nintex champion as well, and someone that is awesome in the community, hoping to have her join me. I'm not going to drop her name just yet, but she has a special audience all the way across the pond, not in Europe, UK rather, but in another country. And she's a huge asset to the Nintex community. So. Um, Hope you all have a good day, and I will catch up with you later.